I think it's important to recognize that what kids are going through today isn't just kind of this snowflake, they can't handle it kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I think they're dealing with something that kids have never dealt with before, ever. Mm-hmm. You know, like kids now, a 10-year-old now, had an iPad in his or her hand when they were 3. You know, and they had access to all sorts of data. Yeah. I think about my son who's 23. On 9/11, I was able to protect him from the entire narrative of what happened there. I could turn off a TV. Yeah. Now, if something awful like that happened tomorrow, I don't know if anybody could protect a 6-year-old from a moment of it. Yeah. You know?
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we have a question here. I have a lot of conversations with my kids about music that seem to make suicide a part of the teenage experience. We go back and forth about it, but they do still listen to it. Any advice?
Yeah. First of all, a lot of music now does not suggest suicide, but discusses suicide. Part of the reason for that is this is also the first generation of kids that is very aware of the idea of suicide and mental illness, depression, anxiety, attention issues, the medications affiliated with it. So we shouldn't be surprised that kids are talking about suicide. There are some media that suggest suicide and suggest, you know, ways in which that you can complete suicide. A lot of the music is just about the way it feels. And for kids who are feeling in a dark place, feeling depressed, feeling suicidal, I've heard so many kids say, this song saved me for that day. You know, this got me through, because at the end there's this modicum of hope. Yeah. But I think a lot of this music, we would argue a lot of our music, you know, when we were teenagers, speaks to what's going on in our lives in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right, and we were talking earlier about how maybe seeing something that reflects your lived experience or a problem that you are grappling with and maybe even feel kind of alone with, seeing it up on a big screen or on any screen might feel like, oh, so this is an actual problem that a lot of people have, or this is an experience that a lot of people have. I feel a little less alone.
And so many kids do feel like, I'm the only one. I'm the only one who feels this terribly about myself. I'm the only one who feels this close to taking my life, or this dark, or this depressed, or this anxiety. Why do I feel this, you know, as opposed to other kids? And to see like, oh yeah, this is a shared experience. There are a lot of people who feel this way. Yeah. That helps.
So what would you say to this mom or dad who said, I mean, it sounds like they're talking about the music. Is that what you do? Talk about it and then just they're going to listen to it? And
oftentimes the tendency is to forbid it. I've worked with a lot of parents who will say, you know, like, we're going to take this off your playlist or something, as if that means your child will never hear it again. And I think there's certain folly to that, right? I think you have to recognize the reality that once your child is exposed to something, they're not going to step away from it just because we tell them to. And we don't necessarily want them to be so suggestible to us. We want them to forge their own paths. But it's important, if we know that suicide is on their radar in some way, to say, well, let's talk about that. And the less flappable we are about talking about that, the more they know there's a soft place to fall. Mom and dad are a go-to here. I don't have to internalize it. I don't have to reach out to my friends. I can talk to them about it. Even if they never do, it's still the knowing that matters.
Knowing you're available for them too, yeah.